What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to MKO Boxing, aka MKO Pugilism. Subscribe on YouTube, like and everything, and follow me on TikTok. So let's get into this one. So recently, the AJ versus Dubois sparring stories have been coming up, the rumors, and I just want to give a few thoughts on that. And basically, a few years ago, a number of years, I can't recall exactly how many years ago, but I want to say roughly around the 5 year mark ago, there were these rumors swirling around that Daniel Dubois had either knocked out or knocked down Anthony Joshua in sparring. And I can recall Daniel Dubois being interviewed about this. I think it may have been Coogan Cassius, maybe IFL TV, something like that. And he was asked about it. And he said, yeah, that did happen. And he said it with a nice sort of smile on his face that, yeah, listen, this did happen. In other words, he did put Joshua down in sparring, and him and Frank Warren for all this time have pretty much, they haven't been shouting it from the rooftops, but they've sort of both been affirming that it did happen, that Dubois did drop Joshua in sparring, and basically, yeah, it came up again. But it was brought up in the face-to-face, the face-off interview where you had Warren and Dubois versus Hearn and Joshua. And Joshua himself was doing this, like, these little expressions, and he put it on Dubois and Warren about it, saying, yeah, what happened in the sparring, what happened in the sparring. Dubois and Frank Warren were very non-committal. They were just like, yeah, that's just sparring. We've moved on from that. We don't need to talk about that. That was a long time ago. Dubois was a teenager, blah, blah, blah. So, they were very non-committal. They were sort of, when they were asked about it, confronted by AJ in the face-to-face thing, they were both sort of shy and coy, and they didn't really want to broach the subject. Ade Oladipo, he tried to say, yeah, but let's just clear it up. Let's clear these rumors up. And Frank Warren and Daniel Dubois didn't want to do that. They were just trying to get away from the subject as fast as possible. But Joshua seemed to want to say, no, you said this about me. You said you done this and that in sparring, but, here's your chance, explain it. And Dubois very non-committal. So since that time, yesterday, I heard a rumor from Anthony Fowler now. Anthony Fowler on Twitter said that he was in the sparring session. He was around the camp, which is true. He was a big part of Team GB, very good amateur boxer. So he said he was around when Dubois and Joshua sparred for that infamous session. His accounting of it was that session was going all right, but Dubois actually had Anthony Joshua out on his feet. He hurt Anthony Joshua badly. And basically, if Daniel Dubois would have thrown another shot, if Daniel Dubois would have gone for it, he wobbled Joshua, and he said Joshua's legs, basically, they turned to rubber, turned to jelly, and that was it. If anyhow Dubois hit him with another shot, that would have been it. Joshua would have been sparked out, basically. So that's what Anthony Fowler's account of it is. He said he was there. Joshua was wobbled. He didn't go down, but anyhow, Dubois hit him. Again, that would have been it for Anthony Joshua in that session. And he said that Dubois held back from hitting Anthony Joshua again. And he said that Dubois showed Anthony Joshua lots of respect. And he just, once he hurt him and wobbled him, he let Anthony Joshua get back, and apparently Rob McCracken stepped in and said, right, Joshua, you step out, you get your feet back under you, and that's it for you for now. So that's Fowler's accounting of it, which I have no reason to doubt. I think these are big heavyweights, and it's fair enough. He said that, so I have no real reason to doubt that. But at the same time, I wasn't there, so you can never know 100%. But I don't think Anthony Fowler's really got an axe to grind against Joshua at all, so I don't think he'd really have a reason to lie about it. But then also, you have to take into consideration other people's accounts, and as several others have mentioned, Fraser Clark is a heavyweight who was also part of the same setup. He was also a big part of Team GB. He even held back to try and do well in the Olympics. And he was also a guy that sparred Joshua and sparred Dubois. He was a big part of the setup. And his accounting of it, of not that specific incident, but he said in his account when he was asked about Dubois and Joshua and what happened in, when they would spar each other and stuff, and if he's witnessed anything, his accounting was that they were both had competitive spars, but 9 out of 10 times Joshua got the better of Dubois in sparring. So according to what Fraser Clark says, who witnessed it and who sparred them both, he said that essentially Daniel Dubois would hold his own, but pretty much Anthony Joshua had the better of most of the sparring session. So Joshua would get his way most of the time, which I can believe, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with a guy in Anthony Joshua who's older, who's more experienced, who's been in a setup longer, and Dubois, young kid, coming up and still growing, still maturing, but so I can understand that, and I think for me personally, I think when you look at both these accounts, I think both of them are probably true. That yes, Dubois could have hurt AJ, and I think Anthony Joshua even admitted. I think it was in that recent face-off that what happened? He caught him with a good shot, but then I came back. That's what it was, and so Joshua's could have admitted that probably what happened. He did get caught with a good shot. He did get hurt and buzzed by Daniel Dubois, but he carried on, and I think both of these things are probably true. That yes, Dubois did have a good session at one point. Yes, Dubois did buzz him and hurt him and wobble him, but I also believe that Anthony Joshua is the more experienced guy, was the guy that was probably on top in most of the sparring sessions. So that's why for him, he doesn't feel it's such a big deal that he got hurt or he got wobbled, because at the end of the day, most sessions he was winning most of the sessions. And in boxing, if you've been around gyms or if you boxed or anything, you're going to have guys that you're going to get the better of most of the time. And then sometimes that guy might clip you with a shot. He might put you down. He might hurt you with a shot. And, things like that happen. And I think that's all it is. Most of the time, Joshua's on top. But Dubois has had a good session where he hurt Joshua. So that's what I believe about it. And I think, for me personally, it doesn't really change my thoughts on the fights. It doesn't really change my thoughts on who I think is going to win this fight, because I think it's a long time ago. And looking at how I judge these guys is by what they've done as pros. And that's what I base this on. I think this whole sparring thing, all it can really do is, in terms of it being relevant, is serve to give Daniel Dubois some confidence. I think if Daniel Dubois really believes in his sessions, and if he really recalls back to that moment, then it will bolster him. It will give him a bit of confidence. So for Daniel Dubois, this can be a good thing and an encouraging thing. But going by the way they didn't want to talk about it, I guess Anthony Joshua probably also has his own stories where he's been on top and he's been beating Dubois up in sparring. So for me personally, it's not really going to make any difference in the fight. It can only probably give Daniel Dubois confidence. And I think it might have even been Frank Warren and Daniel Dubois saying, this did happen. It could even be just a tactic really to get them to this point. And I think the fact that they've now got the AJ fight is probably part of the reason, or maybe the whole reason, why Dubois and Frank Warren, when asked them question about this, why it might be the fact they've got the fight now is probably the reason why both of them weren't really that committal. They weren't really wanting to talk about it, because they're like, well, we've got the fight now. We don't need to talk about this. We don't need to talk up the fight. We've got it. We've got you where we want you. We've got the fight, and that's it. So, that's just a few of my thoughts there. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. For me, as I say, I think, probably it did happen. But at the same time, I also believe that exactly what Fraser Clark said, that you ain't got a dog in this race either, that, most of the time AJ was on top. That makes sense because of his experience, but Dubois did buzz him and Dubois was able to hurt him in sparring. But obviously Same could be true of AJ. We will never know because we never saw them. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section. And until next time, it's MKO Pugilism over and out.